It's 7:45, KNEB, 49 degrees. Time for our News Extra program, brought to you by Jolliffe Funeral Home. Here's Kevin Mooney.
Thank you, Dennis, and good morning, everyone. Our guests today are Perry Mader and Trinity Burgner, and they are from the City of Scottsbluff Parks and Recreation Department. Perry kind of runs that department, and then Trinity does the recreation part. And they are going to have a big event coming up in the not too distant future, just about 10 days from, actually a week from now, coming up on the 14th. So take her away, Perry. Tell us what's going on.
Well, this is actually our second annual. We've expanded a little bit from what we did last year. Last year was just kind of a let's see if we can put together an event in the fall, kind of a family-friendly type thing. And we learned awful quick that this town really was looking for something along those lines. We estimated that we might have 300-400 people, and we ended up having about 1,500 people. So, the good news is we had a lot of people. The bad news is we weren't quite prepared for what we got. So we're going to do it again this year, and hopefully do it a lot better than what we did last year.
Yeah, second annual Harvest Night over at Riverside Park. What are the hours that we're doing this week from tonight? I'll let Trinity go through that.
We are going to start the event at 6 o'clock. It'll run through 10 o'clock, and we'll have different activities going on throughout that whole time.
Yeah, over at Riverside Park. And you guys, like you said, you had lots of people there last year. It's a free deal. And talk about some of the highlights of what you guys are going to do on Harvest Night.
Okay, well, we're going to do some of the same things that we did last year, but we also have a lot of new, fun, exciting things that we're going to do. The highlight is the floating pumpkins. We'll be floating about 200 pumpkins on the ponds just to the east of the park. And the hayrack ride will take people around to see the pumpkins. We'll also have Scottsbluff High School drill team will be selling s'mores for people to roast over the fire pits. We will be having 2 big stock tanks full of corn for kids to play in. A luminary walk down the road to get into the park. The Skate and Fun Center is going to have a bounce house there. New this year, we're going to have a blacklight art center for the kids to play. The library will be doing story time, and we'll be showing a movie throughout that whole time. Glowing tattoos, a couple of food vendors, and lots of fun stuff.
Wow, sounds like a lot of fun. So, what did you guys learn from last year, Trinity, when you had like a couple thousand instead of a couple hundred there? What did you learn from last year?
I think the biggest thing that we learned is we need to have more volunteers. We really needed more volunteers. Parking was a nightmare. We think we got that figured out this year. More volunteers to man some of the events, such as the hayrack ride. We need more supervision over at the hayrack ride to help people on and off. And just, I think, with the numbers that we had last year, we just knew that we needed to plan and prepare well in advance.
Yeah. So what is the situation with parking? I better ask you about that. We'll let Perry kind of do that. All right. So parking was an issue. So how do we handle the parking?
Well, last year we actually tried to park within the park, which, as Trinity mentioned, just flat didn't work with the volume of cars we saw. So this year what we're going to do is have people park at the zoo parking lot, and then just to the east of the zoo, down below, there's kind of overflow parking for the zoo. They use it for bus parking. We're going to utilize that as well. And if those fill up, we'll have more overflow parking to the north of the belt line, where the old park shop used to be, that property. And there'll be plenty of signage. We'll have street department's going to furnish some lit signs, with some wording on it to help people. And if we have enough volunteers, we'll have volunteers helping people park. And we just ask that people be patient, use a little bit of common sense when you're parking in there. It's a one-night event, so we'll probably see the volume of people and traffic like we did last year. But I think if people just take their time to be careful, the parking situation will work out much better this year.
All right. You got more volunteers this year than you had last year for this?
For the parking, we're still kind of ironing out some things, and we have some park staff to help with that.
I think Kiwanians are supposed to help out with that or do some type of volunteer.
Yeah, I
work
think
this
they
year.
volunteered to help with the hay rack rides. We have
Yeah.
we'll have EMTs on site, and we'll have courtesy shuttles. Massix has been very generous in donating a couple of golf carts for us to help shuttle people in and out of the park. You think of it as kind of a long walk, but as soon as you get out of your car, there's something to see as soon as you walk into the park from one end to the other. So hopefully that'll kind of minimize the effect of having to walk through the park.
Yeah, and I would imagine some people are gonna that haven't really looked at the park and seen how much you guys have done with the park will be amazed when they get there next Friday night. How much you guys have done with the park?
Well, we hope so. It seems like there's always something going on down there. We're still working on the arboretum, and we've cleaned it up quite a bit over the past few years. The Parks Department has done an outstanding job of doing things in-house. We try and do as much as we can on our own. A lot of people just aren't familiar with that park at all. So, it's kind of a dual purpose thing. We have an event, we get people familiar with that park that we are constantly trying to upgrade and always looking for new ideas to make it better. So we just have another facility in town that people can use.
All right, we'll take a break. Talk more right after this. Okay, we'll talk about sponsors, huh? We should give a sponsor list. That goes once again 6 to 10 next Friday.
What else we need to?
You're gonna have food vendors. Who's the food vendors?
We have Nebraska Twister and Cornhusker Roast. And then the drill team's going to be selling popcorn.
All right, we are back on News Extra, and we have Perry Mader and Trinity Burgner here talking about the second annual Harvest Night festivities going on next Friday night, 6 to 10 p.m. Again, a week from tonight, 6 to 10 over at Riverside Park. And just tons of stuff's going on, lots of fun activities for the family. And, of course, you kind of had to have some sponsors to get this thing rolling. And you've got a pretty good list of sponsors there.
We do. We have a good list of sponsors and volunteers this year. Cornhusker Roast and Nebraska Twister will be our food vendors this year for the event. Scottsbluff High School drill team once again will be selling s'mores packets and popcorn. And as far as other sponsors, Menards has been great to us this year. Volunteers, we have Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Panhandle Cooperative. The library is going to do story time. Lions Club, Kiwanis, Massix, the Playhouse Skate and Fun Center, and ESU is also going to be there.
All right. Wow, you got a good list of volunteers. So it should be fun, and we appreciate it. Now, this is different than Spooktacular. Here in the next minute or so is about all we got left. Spooktacular is totally different. This is a separate thing. Spooktacular will still happen in a couple of weeks, right?
That's correct, yeah. And we do encourage people, now and until both events to attend both. Spooktacular is a great event that's been going on for several years, and I've heard they've got some real exciting things coming up this year as well. So different events, but we wish them all the best as well.
All right. Don't forget, second annual Harvest Night coming up 6 to 10. It's just a week from tonight, so put it on the calendar. It's a lot of fun, and there'll be a lot of folks that'll be there next Friday night. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate
thank you.
coming in.
Thank you.
You bet. Back to you, Dan.